Welcome back to PowerStroke Maintenance. In this video, we are talking to PTT with ARod. The king of PowerStrokes himself has agreed to sit down for a chat. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the top 6.7 PowerStroke reliability upgrades. Let's get into it. ARod, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
What up, my man? Good to be here.
So we're going to start at the beginning. How did you end up working on trucks, just in general, not even just PowerStrokes? Like, how did you end up as a tech at the dealer that you worked at for, what was it? It was like 24 years, 22 years?
Yeah, 23 years. It, just started as being a porter. And then, that drive to do the next thing, like you're looking at the oil change guys, like, ooh, I wonder if I can help them do an oil change or tire rotation. And that just kind of how I got into the shop with the techs, and fortunately got stuck with a tech who formed my foundation that I have today. And he just so happened did diesel, and diesel at that time was only what we had in the truck. So kind of was like, whoa, these are way bigger. So that's was my first Super Duty, I guess, experience was the 7.3. So
yeah,
growing up on the 7.3 doing warranty work, memories.
Yeah, I bet. Sounds like it much simpler times.
Ain't that
how did you end up working like at the dealership? Like, did you have someone in your life that was also like, they worked on cars and trucks, or like what caused you to even start down like the automotive path? Or was it at that time, was it just like a job for you?
Well, really in high school, I had a 3-hour block of auto, and it was a co-op. So I didn't have a first hour. I'd go to school for 2 hours, and then I would go to an off-site vocational school that was strictly auto shop, but it allowed me to leave at, the 2 o'clock hour and go immediately to work, which was at the dealer. So it was you go to school, you had to have an automotive related job is what it was.
Right. Well, that's cool.
Kind of how I got stuck to the dealer side.
Yeah. And so it sounds like you like went right from school, started working even when you were still in school, and then spent, I mean, up until when did you go out on your own? That was last year, right?
Yeah,
man.
Even being, when I think back about it, I think, a lot of being so young and starting there, I contribute a lot of my driving habits, pulling into parking spaces and having to pull the vehicles into the hoists for the technicians, and only had my license for a year and a half, and being able to maneuver vehicles in and out and having to pull vehicles in, working in that environment just made my my driving. You ain't drive anything. Oh, I can't drive this big truck, it's too big. Like, come on, I'll drive anything. It's my spatial awareness of the vehicle you get in, your bubble. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to explain. Once you go in between the hoists, the hoist arms, you pull in and out, got this much here between each mirror, you kind of create this
bubble. Yeah.
This gray area that's in your head. You're like, no, I'm good. I still got, half inch. I'm good.
There's something to be said for that. It seems like people who spend a lot of time around cars, whether it's driving them or working on them, you just have that sixth sense that applies to driving, like you were saying, but also to like when something's wrong, like, it's almost like you have spidey senses, and you're like, especially if it's your car. I bet if there's anything wrong with any of yours, it's like you got this thing in it's like another section of your brain.
Sometimes I wish I could just shut it off. I can't. And I'll like, what was that? What was that noise? Oh, wait, did I feel a vibration? What was it?
Yeah.
I can't get in other people's vehicles. Man, what the hell is this? Did you feel this? I don't know what's going on with this. Oh my gosh. It's like I cannot not say something like this isn't right, people. Like, go get
Right.
this fixed.
Right. Oh, geez. So you're at the dealer for 22 years. Is that right?
Yeah, 23 years on my
20,
clip.
23 years.
Yep.
And I mean, you started your channel there and kind of worked through that. And then what made you decide to go out on your own? And you can answer this however you like. I know there were it was kind of a mix of things that made you decide to start your own business.
Yeah, I mean, I still have a video I need to make about the flat rate scenario on what that does to you mentally.
Like for warranty work?
No,
Or
and that's
just
how you get paid. Flat
okay.
rate. So you're paid. They give you an example. Ford says it's going to take me. It's going to take an hour to go from here to here, and I got to take all this shit off. Excuse me, to get this part off. If it takes me 3 hours to remove this, to put it over here, I'm getting paid 1 hour. Now here's the catch. If it takes me a half an hour to do that job, I'm getting paid an hour. Now see, that's where you can make your money. My whole I'd say the first 3 years, let's say, I was hourly.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole 20 or 2 decades, I'm here to hearing people talk about overtime and this. I'm like, fuck, what is overtime? I don't even know what overtime is. My pay, or I should say my income being flat rate, is always like this. Sometimes there's a lot more of these than there are of these. And it takes a long time to learn. I would say that was a lot in the beginning, like that. And, over time, some people can take it, some people can't. And I have a hard time letting things go when I know that I just got stiffed on a job and Ford's only going to pay XYZ. So between that and the, I don't know what you want to call it, interdepartmental and
Politics.
You know what I'm saying? It's just unnecessary. And I saw the writing on the wall, man. Hopefully, well enough in advance that I think I might want to clean out my cabinets and maybe liquidate all the things that I've collected over the last 2 decades, because I don't think they need to be here anymore. I called it. The day it was for me to leave, I literally just had to pack my stuff and go. And it wasn't like, oh, I got to go through this cabinet. Oh, I got to go through this drawer. It wasn't. I was already prepared. It was a hard enough decision to make. I'm glad I made it. There's a lot of things that have changed at that institution that is not for the better. I have not heard good things. I know my existence would not be there if I was still there. So I was only forced to do what I had to do. And my biggest thing, my biggest worry, sitting on this roller coaster for the last, 18 months, looking like, do I quit? Do I not? And it's this, this fight internally, because this is all I've ever known. I go to work every day and these trucks are here. I go to work and I go to look at my rack and I walk out saying FML because I'm pulling in this 6.4. It's got 300,000 miles on it. They're complaining. No, sir, motherfucker. Yeah. no more, man.
Yeah.
No more. It was scary, and I knew I could do it, but I was afraid of how I was going to get those trucks to come
Mm,
to me. I didn't
right.
have to do anything but go to work,
Right.
and the trucks were there.
Right.
And I've been very fortunate to learn not to resist the universe, and just go.
Mm,
It's kind of you can't really explain it. There's no strategy book. You just I've never done it before. I've done the last I've done the same thing for the last 2 decades, 20 years, man. And I don't want to go another 20 years doing the same thing
mm,
at the same place and not being appreciated for it. I don't care if I was cussing and swearing. I don't care if I wanted to circumvent the policies because the job and flow how I was going to do it was going to benefit me to be as most efficient as I could.
mm-hmm.
And don't want to be appreciated. That's fine.
Yeah.
Those people wound up following me. And a lot of the customers did too, because they don't want to go to the dealer. And I was
Mm-hmm.
such an advocate. Come to the dealer. I want to make your dealer experience good. I want to take care of all your warranty, concerns. And there was the middleman of the service advisor, and I didn't even want them to deal with the service advisor.
Mm,
You came to me. We talked about the truck. We wrote down everything that was wrong with the truck. We went to the service advisor, and I told him what to write on the repair order. And we knew that there's just a TSB, and this is what we were going to do. And it wasn't like any other experience.
right. So it
Everybody,
sounds like you were really like speaking for your customer. Like you were really
yeah,
like,
I was the middleman between the
right.
customer and Ford. It was important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was important to me that I knew that these people were spending hard-earned money for this investment, and I wanted to take care of it.
Mm.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
more for
Well,
them just coming to work every day.
right. Right. But I mean, it seemed like when you were kind of on, like you said, that 18-month roller coaster of like, do you leave? Do you not? You had been for a while doing some stuff, on the side. Like that was my first experience as a customer of yours, and it wasn't probably the most ideal setup for you kind of doing both, but like
Well, it
you
it
know,
it wasn't looked upon in a positive light when I'd had people from YouTube come into the dealership.
mm,
I'm not going to lie about it. So I would take care of all these clients on Saturday at another shop, one of which is how Harry and I met. And it was a stepping stone because for the last 2 years, every Saturday is where I took care of the YouTube, clientele.
right.
And when that time came to cut the umbilical cord, all of my Saturday people now became my all the week people. So two things happened. I no longer had to work on Saturdays.
We like that.
And it was two people every Saturday. So that was two people during the week. And then I got an oil change, and that filled up the third day. And then a check engine light, and that filled up Friday. And then during the weekend, two other people called, and they wanted to get in for next week. And so it just came this, like, I'm giving you an analogy, and just visualize with me. You turn the faucet on, you got that drip, and then you got the more drip, and now you're got a steady little drool going into your glass, and now I have this faucet that's on, and I'm trying to catch this glass and this glass, and I got hold on, hold on, and I keep getting all these glasses in reference to people are waiting and waiting and waiting, and I'm taking deposits, and I'm now into June, and Florida's crazy, and people are waiting more. I'm blown away. I'm literally blown away. And the biggest thing for me, the biggest change of pace was not being in a rush. That flat rate. I gotta get this done. I got all this in my. I gotta get this. And that was Monday through Friday. And then I got to work on Saturday. And then I got to do YouTube every night. I got to do 2 videos.
Yeah, that pace is insane, man. The pace you were on for so long, like,
bro. I have a good team behind me. My wife, my friends, the other content creators who we consistently collab with, and work flows from one entity to the other entity. It has been such a culmination of good things and good people, and I wanted to make a difference at the dealer. Not going to happen. It wasn't until I got on the outside where I know that I make the difference.
right.
And people appreciate it. People are excited to come and have me work on their truck and change their, even the piddly stuff. It doesn't matter. They know that they're coming, they're getting it done right. They're not getting any BS. They're getting good parts, good fluids. And just like I told a gentleman Thursday who bought a used 22 and was so upset, not with me, not with you, ARod, but the fact that he bought this truck and didn't know that he had to do all this stuff to it. And we talk about the stuff that we're going to do to make these trucks great. And I look at everything here, everything. All this stuff, all these material things that we have, they're all weak links. There's a weak link in this thing right here. If I drop it, it's going to break. There's a little fine computer chip. There's a weak link in here. Man-made it. Man-made the 6.7. Man-made design the 6.7. We like to take the weak links out of it. One of them being the DCR. If you have a 6.7, at least get the disaster prevention kit, which Harry has. Or you get the DCR pump and get rid of that. Then we got to do fuel filters. And then people want the bigger fuel tanks. Harry?
Have one of those.
Intake manifolds. Minor suspension stuff. And he was just so overwhelmed, probably because I was dropping a lot of stuff on him. But my biggest point is educating people. You just bought this truck. Remember when you had the clunking noise and we made that video with your steering shaft?
Yes.
That was such a big problem, and a common one too, where we were able to make this video and educate people on this mysterious clunk and go in those comments. And there's like, I would say at least a half dozen, if not more, where people were going to the dealer and they couldn't figure out, oh, they said my front end was tight and they forgot it. And it was the freaking steering shafts.
I chased that for 2 years and didn't just go to the dealer, went to independent shops. They all thought I was nuts, completely nuts. But yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Education.
Man. Education.
You got two things when you're on YouTube. You're either entertainment
Mm,
or your education. And I really like the education part because I want people to learn about this truck and I don't want them to be fed any bullshit. But on the same fact, you have to deliver that education with a little bit of entertainment. And I
right.
got a tongue that maybe is not in the right tone sometimes and words come out and
Mm,
I try to have a fun um, way that I deliver the
right.
material so that you guys can understand and it's not boring and
Mm,
you know I want it to be
right.
relatable content and
Yeah.
a relatable visit for when you guys come and see. And it's like, Harry, I worked on your truck. Let's see. One, two, three. How many times?
Like
Each time you're coming
5.
back,
Yeah.
you doing something different. Or
Yeah.
you want to add this on, or you want to take care of another weak link, or
Right.
educating about the problem you had. It's like it was the DPF regeneration frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you wind up having to do? Replace some of the DPF pressure sensors. It's like even I had to learn on that one because it was real world data that you were giving me because I can't go drive your truck like I need to do to diag that stuff. So,
Right.
you know, a lot of the things that we have to do as a technician is testing in the field. By golly, you did all the testing that I needed to do.
I just
But
drive miles. That's it. Uh, yeah. Well, it's appreciated. Like what you do, and I don't want to spend too much time making this interview about me because it's about you, but I will say I remember the year I bought my truck and had a similar experience to that gentleman that you mentioned where I had the brain explode because I went and I got my oil changed and my fuel filters done at a local shop, and they charged me like $500. And I remember going home that night and telling my wife, I have to do my own stuff because like otherwise I'm going to need to sell this because it's just going to eat me alive if I don't know what's going on. And I remember going on to YouTube and typing in PowerStroke 6.7 like oil change and clicking on your video
I already
and
know the video.
watching your video. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I speak for a lot of people, and what you do is very, very appreciated. So, thank you.
I need to
Um,
have a huge meetup with all you guys. And we need to have
mm,
like all our trucks.
a
And
truck
I gotta have.
meetup.
I know. I think he's watching. He's probably watching because he follows you. T Dub, Jub. We
Oh,
have a. Yep.
Tom.
We'll have
Yeah,
a
Uncle Fester.
master a master barbecue connoisseur on site cooking all of
Yeah.
our feasts, and it
Mm,
would be cool to meet all you guys. And I
yeah.
mean, I meet a lot of you guys already, but it's funny when I have a couple of you guys come in. I don't know who's who, like who's dropping their truck off. They're like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "Oh gosh, buddy, I feel bad. I don't know who are you again." Or
Yeah.
they'll say their name and I don't know them by their name, and I'm like, "What's your screen name?" And they're like, da, da, da. Yeah, KN Fox. Yeah, I know. Yep, I know who you are.
Mm,
Okay. So
yeah. Oh, we should do it
it's fun.
sometime. I mean, that'd be awesome. So to talk about upgrades, since that is kind of what this video is all about, and you obviously have done a lot of that. Like you said, you're trying to educate people as to kind of what to add, kind of the weak links. So I guess that's kind of where I'd like to go is like, and you can kind of freewheel it. You can list them out in order of importance, whatever you want to do. But like, could you talk to us about the weak links? Like, let's say somebody like that gentleman just bought a PowerStroke. They bought it used. Maybe it's their first diesel truck. Like, what what are the weak links?
So the top, my triple threat,
Mm,
PTT's triple threat, is the DCR, the pusher, and the Banks air filter. Now, a lot of these repairs wind up being, while you're in there, well, while I'm in there, I have to take this fuel filter assembly completely out of the truck. Why wouldn't I want to put the fleece fuel filter kit and take the plastic fuel filter and put a nice kit on? So fuel filter upgrades, but if you do the upper, now I got to do the lower. But if I do the lower, I mean, we could put in a bigger fuel tank for you. So see where I'm going with this? So it's like, do we do the engine, and then you come back and we do the fuel system, and then you come back and we do the maintenance? The guys who just bought the truck usually want to create a baseline. We'll go through, make sure it has no codes, do a complete vehicle inspection, change out all the fluids, all the filters, and then they know at 50,000 miles, they've done X, Y, Z, filter, fluid, gasket, and then they can go on from there and go by my regimen for the videos that I've made talking about maintenance intervals.
Yeah,
and
I can link that in the description if people are curious.
Yep. And kind of go at it like that. I think the engine stuff, the DCR is probably the biggest one. If you can't do that financially, the one that Harry got, the disaster prevention kit, at least you got something on there, just so that you're not going to get stiffed with a $15,000 repair bill if the dealership finds rust. No rust, you're covered. They find rust, not going to be covered.
No way. So
absolutely.
So that's if they find rust in anywhere in the fuel system or in the pump specifically?
Well, the pump's going to have all the metal. The rust is going to be on the driver's rail, most likely around the pressure control valve, which is on the back side of the driver's rail. And there, when you look at the valve, when it goes into the rail, you have the tip of it, the part that's in the fuel system, and an O-ring. If we find rust over here, that's fine. That's environmental. This is on the outside. If we find rust on this side of the O-ring, then we know that rust came from the fuel system. And where does rust come from? Water, crappy fuel.
Wow.
So there is a video that Harry can link where I show you guys exactly, I mean, clear as glass, what we have to do at the dealership when you bring your vehicle in and you're suspecting you have a high pressure fuel system problem. We have a specific, it's called a GSB, a general service bulletin for this concern. And they show a picture. Good, bad. No rust, rust. You take yours. Does it look like the good or does it look like the bad? And we have to provide pictures and documentations. Not only that, we got to turn these parts back into Ford. And if they get them back with rust, well, who's going to get stuck with that warranty bill? The dealership. And the dealership's not going to want to pay for that. They're going to want to come after the customer. Well, Johnny Technician didn't do his due diligence and didn't take the pictures and didn't do, you know what I'm saying? So
it can get messy fast.
Just because you have these codes and the dealership says you need a fuel system, did they show you pictures? Did they offer you a fuel sample? So I show you some of the things to ask so you can go in there educated and not have the service advisor who wants to make that commission off you, that, that 12 grand he's going to get. Well, you need to ask some answers. You need to do a little Matlock, a little murder she wrote. Go in there asking some questions. Oh my gosh, I didn't think this customer was going to ask me this. Hold on, let me call the technician. I'm just saying, I want you guys to be educated. Well, to not even be in that scenario, we get that DCR out, we get that CP4 out of there and put the DCR on. So all 6.7s are candidates for that. But
so what else besides the CP4 and the fuel, high pressure fuel system failure, like, I know you kind of mentioned the triple threat, right? Like for most people, you're doing a DCR, you're doing a pusher, you're doing a Banks intake, which personally I can vouch for its effectiveness because I dynoed my truck and made 428 wheel horsepower on a stock truck with no tuning and a 200,000 mile old DPF. So
That's freaking pretty righteous, man.
yeah. So we're gonna actually retest it because I added the Banks ram air. So we're gonna see how much the Banks makes a difference versus AFE. So
That's way
anyway,
cool.
outside of that, what do you think after the CP4 is like the second and third biggest failure point on these trucks? We've seen like the upper fuel filter fires, and then there's like the emission stuff and
failure. CP4 failure. Not so much failure, but I think important creating a baseline. Every truck that I get is not only going to get some. Ooh, I don't know what I just did. I hit exit full screen. That scared me.
I still got you. You're still here, I think.
Gets some forescan programming. And the biggest thing I want to do is create a baseline so you know your DPF health. A lot of the problems I see that these trucks come in with will be for the after treatment, the reductant, something's wrong with the DPF. We had to take we just made a video taking the DPF off so that they could cut it up and put it in a kiln and completely bake the shit out of it. It's always the emission stuff. So I like to have you guys be able to check the percentage, drive your truck in a manner that will allow regen to complete, and you won't have issues. Harry has forescan. I tell everybody else for this free program, download forescan. Do a manual regen once a month. You're too lazy, do a regen every couple of months. There's no problem with keeping up on DPF health, and especially if you're going to create a baseline for your maintenance. Why not have one for your DPF, just so you know, okay, yep, it's the 30th every month. Yep, I got to go. It's Saturday. The first Saturday every month when the tornado sirens go off, I got to do my DPF regen. Yeah, no problem. Why not? You own a diesel. How much is that filter, Harry? How much is that filter, Harry?
About $8,000.
Why not get the free program and just keep your DPF clean? Ford has this feature turned off. Every one of your trucks have it. Enable it. Use it. Learn it. You'll benefit from it. Trust me. You can turn it on and off. Maybe you would benefit from leaving it off and then allowing you to clean the truck through the instrument cluster. Then you don't even need the computer. But you need the computer to turn that feature on to begin with. But that will also function as a scan tool as well. So you need to pull codes. We need to remote in and help diagnose a truck. Gotta have forescan. So that failure of the emissions, which could be number 2, you can greatly reduce if you keep up on that. These short distances that you guys some do. We got an older gentleman on Anna Marie Island in Florida who's got a 16, only got 40,000 on it, and doesn't drive a hell of a lot. Brings it into the shop, got a bunch of DPF codes. What do we got to do? Couple manual regens, get it out of D-rate, and tell you guys that sometimes you got to haul the mail, blow out them carbons.
Yeah, get her hot.
You just said it. It needs the heat.
Yeah.
We got to have that heat getting 1,200 degrees in that exhaust to burn that off. Going up to the corner store isn't going to achieve that. So don't get stopped up.
And that is a great one. And that program is like you said, there's a free version, and then there's a paid version, which is only $12 a year. And then, although I will say, if anyone is having trouble turning on their screen, I actually had to go see ARod because for whatever reason, my truck, it was gated, whatever, you needed IDS. I don't know if you remember that. So if you do try with Forescan, it doesn't work, go see ARod, and he has the big guns and we'll get you sorted. But I mean, that's not bad. So far, CP4 pump, you can either spend $400 for the disaster prevention kit, or you can spend $2,000 plus, whatever the labor is that you charge to get that sorted. That solves that issue. The DPF one is a $12 program, and you just drive it like you mean it. So yeah,
people who want to monitor stuff, the Banks iDash, it's a monitoring device. It's not a tuner. You can monitor everything that you pretty much can with the scan tool and can clear codes. Mounts right to your A-pillar. Still use your grab handle. Works really well. Functions good. Looks good.
Does look good.
You like data?
Yeah, it has it all. I have one in a box in my garage. It's going to get installed next week. So
hell yeah.
Excited for that. Just waiting on the A-pillar mount because I got the suction cup one and I then realized that they had the A-pillar one. But yeah. All right. So we got CP4, we got emissions, DPF. Have you ever seen, have you ever had on a 6.7 to replace like the EGR cooler, any of the EGR stuff? Is that common with these?
Just on the steel bodies.
Okay. Yeah.
Just on steel bodies. The straws in the EGR cooler are real small. So we've actually taken those guts out and put in the Alumaduty guts that you have in yours, and the straws are way bigger and flow way better. Doesn't get clogged up at all. That's why we never saw EGR problems with the Alumaduty trucks, because the straws were freaking huge. They allowed flow and for the exhaust gases to be cooled. We didn't care about the restriction of flow. That was left to the EGR valve to decide how much and when that was going to go in. But yeah, Alumaduties, we don't really have EGR problems with those.
Steering problems, though.
We will go through some front ends. Drag links, tow bars, track bars, ball joints. We just had a fellow bring in his 350 dually. We had to take the drive shaft out, get it rebalanced. He wanted greasable Zerks. Painted it, looked good. We got it back.
That's cool. How old was the truck? Did it need a rebalanced drive shaft? I've never heard of it.
2011 and had like 120,000 miles on it.
Okay.
Super cab 350 dually. Yep.
What is the weirdest issue you've ever seen at the dealer or doing your own thing?
I've seen a lot of weird electrical concerns. I had a Super Duty come in once, steel body, and if you guys picture where the BCM is on the right hand side in the passenger footwell area, directly above the BCM was a connector that was not being used because this was an XL truck. It was sitting just like this. So something would plug into it, whether it had been like the cab lights or the satellite radio. I don't know. I don't know what it was for. Well, the customer was complaining that the reverse light would always stay on. Okay. What I wound up finding was the operator of the vehicle would throw all his change right up on the dash. You know, your steel body guys, you got that little space, right between the radio and the dash. It's, all grooved up, and you can put your glasses and stuff will go when you're turning. Well, those change pieces, a dime specifically, plinkoed its way all the way through the defrost and all the way through the ducting, through the dash, and into this connector that must have had a reverse light circuit for I have no idea. And that dime shorted out those two pins and made the reverse light go on.
What?
And the only way I found that was I was looking for a ground on that side, on the body above the BCM. And I'm like, did I just see a coin in that connector?
Oh my word.
Are you serious?
Oh,
So yeah,
that is
sticks
wild.
out. That sticks out in my head. That was in the early days of the YouTube. So as soon as I found that, I gotta make a video on this. Are you kidding me?
That is crazy. That is a really weird one. What about what do you think was the most difficult repair you ever had to do?
Oh wow, tag 280. Oh man. I'll never forget.
I'm sorry I asked.
No, just gave me chills. I'll never forget about tag 280. Tag 280. Tag 280, fellas. That was a 2004 6.0 diesel. And it was an early model 04, which means it had an 03 motor in it. So it was a carryover from what they had the year before. And in fact, here is a picture my brother took that I did not know that I had. And I was trying to diag this truck. And I just was sitting there contemplating, like, literally what I was going to do next. It was so long ago.
That is wild.
Truck I had for 3 months. I remember the customer, the client, the company. And I wound up having to put a crankshaft in it. We don't put cranks in cars in these engines nowadays. You get short blocks. I had to put, now being 04 and graduating in 02 and having vocational auto, in 01 and 2000. So these 4 or 5 years, I just learned the basics of engine building and plastic gauging. And I've never plastic gauged again since then. I had to plastic gauge and measure the bearing clearance for this crank, which, by the way, I had to replace because the timing peg that held the reluctor wheel sheared off, and the reluctor wheel spun on the crank, and the crank sensor would not pick the signal up because it wasn't attached to the engine when it was spinning.
Oh my word.
So I had to put a fucking crank in it.
In a 6.0.
In the very beginning, after my foundation technician came in one day and was like, "So, you think you got this?" I'm like, yeah, where are you going to go? You on vacation? Are you going to be next week? No, I quit. Are you serious?
Oh no.
So now you see me sitting in that chair.
Mm.
I had just been. Oh my gosh! I'm the only diesel technician at this dealership. Are you kidding me? It was. I'll never forget it, man. I'll never forget. I've never put another crank in a truck. That was just a really rare scenario. I haven't seen that again. But it fixed it. Yeah. Tag 280.
Tag 280.
Tag 280.
Sorry.
Hello, dear. Hello.
Mrs. PSM is on her way home from work, probably.
Hey, that's cool, man.
Cool. Well, listen, I really appreciate this, man. I feel like we got to learn like just a whole nother side of you, kind of like the dealer edition of ARod, which I know that wasn't the best time for you ever, but it did kind of make you who you are today.
It was, man. It was where I needed to build my foundation so that I could continue to do what I'm doing now.
Yeah, which is, I mean, at the end of the day, you're helping a lot of people, and it's a good way to make an honest living. If there was like one piece of advice you'd give this person, and I'm glad you brought up, people who just bought their first diesel truck. Like if you could give them one piece of advice, what would you say?
Fuel, 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 fuel. This is not a gasoline vehicle. I cannot stress to you enough. Fuel, fuel, fuel. I have a fuel playlist I suggest you watch.
And we will link to it below. Well, we heard that loud and clear. So
very important.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you are in the southeastern Michigan or the North American content for that matter, PowerStroke Truck Tech at gmail.com, shop line 947-900-1115. Leave a message, text, email if you guys are in need for some service or want to get that baseline set. Get a hold of me. Get a hold of Harry.
Yeah.
We can hook you up.
Yeah. And as a customer who's been to ARod's and had ARod services more times than I can count on one hand, it is worth its weight in gold. The knowledge, the service, you will not be disappointed. And my truck just hit 202,000 miles, and
hell yeah,
she runs like a top. So
that's what's up, man.
This man will take care of you. But thank you. Yes.
You got it, man.
Yeah. Thank you, ARod, for sharing just all your knowledge and your just incredible story. And thank you to you, the viewer, for watching this video. If you have not yet, please go to the description, click the link to ARod's channel, and go subscribe, because it is one of the most valuable automotive channels here on YouTube. So you just need to check out what he's doing. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see an owner that drives their truck a lot, and I'm documenting all of my maintenance, implementing ARod's methodologies, and thus far, I can say with quite a bit of confidence that they work well. So thank you again for watching. We appreciate you. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time here on PowerStroke Maintenance.
See you guys.
Cheers.